Hello there. I trust you are doing well. I'm glad to come your way once again with this lesson. So today we'll be dealing with verb conjugation. Verb conjugation. And in order to conjugate our verbs, we would need to have a recap on the pronouns we did in our previous lesson. And remember, when we tackled the pronouns, we said the key name for pronouns is edin sianemu. Edin sianemu, where edin is name and sianemu is representative. So edin sianemu. Then biako kabea, we said biako means one. Biako means one. But in this context, biako means singular. Singular. Then dodo means plural, multiple, many. That is dodo. So we said I in English is me. So when I say me means I. Wo means you, first person singular, you. Wo. Then ono is he or she. Eno, it. Yen, we. Mo, you as a plural. Won, they. Then enonom, that's the plural form of it, which is eno. So fast forward to our lesson for today. We're dealing with verbs. Here we are saying that the verbs in tree mostly ends with vowels. Said the verbs in tree, they mostly end with vowels, and the vowels we saw in our previous lesson as a or e or e, I, o or o, and u. These are the vowels we saw in our previous lesson. So the most of the verbs we'll be dealing with in this lesson and the lesson beyond would find out that most of the vowels we will meet ends with a vowel. Most of the verbs we will meet ends with a vowel. And then one thing we should also take note of is when we are dealing with the continuous form of the verb, that is a progressive form, the imperative form of the verb, we add prefixes and suffixes to the verb. So fast forward, let's look at the present tense, how we put verbs in its present form. And for the purpose of this lesson, we will be using d, that is to eat. D, to eat, as our verb for this lesson. And you see, as you see here, d ends with e, which is a vowel. D. So that is the basic form of it, to eat. And in the present form, if I'm adding my pronoun I, which is me, to it, it becomes I eat, which is midi. I eat, midi. You eat, woody, where wo is you, woody. He, she, or it eats. And now this is where it becomes interesting, because we saw earlier that he and she is ono. But when we are adding a verb directly to the he, she, we don't say onudi, but rather we pick the first letter, which is o. We pick the first letter and we add our verb to it. So odi, that is he and she. The same thing happens with the it. Here we say eno, but when we want to add the verb to it, we would say we would just pick the and we add the verb to it. Now the next one we have here is we eat, which is yedi. they eat. Wodi. Let's look at how the past form of the verbs also goes. And one thing we should take note is that when it's moving into the past form, we double the last letter, which is mostly a vowel. So here we have E and it's a vowel, so we double the last letter. In situations where the verb ends with a consonant, like kum, which is to kill. Kum, it ends with m, which is we do not double the last letter. When it ends with a consonant, we do not double the last letter in its past form. We will have examples of that one also in our next session. But here we were seeing the ones that ends with a vowel. And when it ends the vowel in this past form, we double the vowel. So I ate. So I ate becomes medi. So to eat here in its past form is d. So medi. You ate. Woody. He, she ate. Odi. We ate. Yedi. They ate. Wodi. Now let's look at the future tense. With the future tense, it carries this letter b and e between the pronoun and the verb. B, e comes in between the pronoun and the verb. So you see something like you will eat. Wubedi. That is the future tense of the verb di. But in the situation where it is I will eat, we say medi. We don't say mebedi. So the exception in the future tense where we do not use the b and e is where you are referring to yourself, where it's saying I will eat. We go straight medi. Then if it is you will eat and he will eat, we will eat, they will eat, that is where we add the b and e, and that's what we are seeing here. Obedi. Then he or she will eat will be obedi. Remember, when we are adding the verb directly to the pronoun he, she, we just use the first letter o. Say obedi. We will eat. Yebedi. They will eat. Wobedi. Then what I was saying earlier on, in a progressive form, we add the prefix re. That is in present continuous. For example, I am eating. I am in the progressive form. I am in the process of the action. I am eating. We add re to the verb. So I am eating becomes mere didi. So this re is added to the verb di. So mere didi. So every verb that is in a progressive form, you add re to it. So mere didi. So our pronoun, then the prefix re, then the verb di, mere didi. Then in the imperative form, that is making a command, the suggestion, imperative form of it, we add the suffix o to it. Due, that is the imperative form of the verb. You add o to it, making a suggestion, a command, imperative form, due. Let's also take note of this. I have eaten. I have eaten. I have eaten. Medidi. Medidi. Now there's something interesting here. I. Remember we said tree is a subject, verb, object language. It has these three things. It deals with these three things: subject, a verb, and object. And now here, so I becomes the subject, have become the verb, and the eating here becomes the object. When we have a situation like that, where the eating, which is our verb, becomes the object, then we make the eating a noun, medidi, which is didi, not di, didi. So it becomes medidi, I have eaten. If I want to say I have eaten the food, I have eaten the food, then the object has come, which is the food. So therefore, we keep the eating in its verb form, which is di. The eating is no more an object, but a verb. So it becomes di. So I have eaten the food will become medi aduane no. Medi aduane no. I have eaten the food. But I have eaten. Let's say I've eaten already. I've already eaten. I have eaten. The eating is still the object in the sentence. So it is medidi. Medidi. But I've eaten the food. I've eaten the food. The eating is not the object. The food is the object. So it becomes medi aduane no. So that is one verb that we've seen how to turn them in the past form, present form, future form, progressive form, imperative form, and all that. And the rule goes through with all the verbs. So you see a verb that ends with a vowel, and these are our vowels: a, or e, I, o, or o, and u. Remember, in its past form, what we do is we double the vowel, and in its future form we add be to it, and the be begins with you, he, we, they, except I. So we add the be in between the pronoun and the verb, and in its progress form we add re to it. And this rule applies to all the verbs. We'll look at other verbs to see how they also sound. But if the verb ends with a consonant, we do not double the last letter. So these are some of the verbs that we have, and we'll look at how we will add the sound. So you see what we did earlier on. Earlier on, we used the verb be, which is to eat. Here we have the verb share, which is to look, watch, boo, to break, sere, to laugh, worry, to marry, nom, to drink. Now you see nom here is a verb, but it ends with a consonant. So here when we move to the past form, you will see all the verbs were doubled. All the vowels at the end were doubled except nom, because it's a consonant, so it wasn't doubled, but its tone will change in its past form. Okay, so we have sane, that is to descend, sane. Home is to rest, fre is to call, kasa is to speak, to talk, kum to kill, bo hit, pe like, ye do or make, re is to chew, re. Then te is to plug, So that is the verbs we are going to deal with in this context. And we have our pronouns here: me, wo, ono, eno, ye. But you see, as a pronoun, it's supposed to be yen. But just as he, she, we take the last away becomes ye. So we watch becomes yeshe. Yeshe instead of yengshe. Yengshe. When we say yengshe, it means let us watch. Yengshe, let us watch. But if I say we watch, we, it is yeshe, yeshe. Then here we take away the or no, then pick our o. So oshe, oshe, he watches, oshe, oshe. So meshe, washe, oshe, eshe. Not, we don't add the no, so eshe. Yeshe, we watch, yeshe. But yangshe, that is the second person you. Moshe, moshe, moshe. And washe, washe, they watch. So mibu, wubu, obu, ibu, yebu, mubu, wobu, wobu. So you try doing the rest. Remember, this is Siri, Siri. This is worry, worry. So Siri, worry. Nom, sunny. Home, free. Kasa, kum, bo, pe, ye, re, te. So those are the verbs here. So try adding the pronouns to the verb, taking into consideration all the laws we had, all the principles we applied in the earlier example with the it. So try that one and let me have your feedback.